So having explained as to how this models part of it works, it's time to create some simple models in our models.py file. So I go ahead and basically go ahead and review as to what is already there in my models.py. And what we need to remember is that I'm trying to create a info bot. I'm trying to create a application which will run online and will go ahead and extract information from certain websites, from certain as an example, I'll be using Snapdeal India and Amazon India, and what basically my models will be doing is they shall be storing that information which is extracted from those websites. So what will I be getting from those websites? What I'll be getting from those websites is basically unstructured information or unstructured data, because those websites either have APIs which will give you structured data, or they will not have any kind of endpoints which will give you structured data. So it's more of going and scraping or screen crawling or scraping what's available on their HTML pages, and then creating some kind of structure out of it, and then utilizing it, or either utilizing it offline or going ahead and publishing it online on your own website. So what we've done on the infobot is, rather what I've done on the infobot is, I've gone ahead and scraped this data. I have restructured it or structured it in a certain manner and gone ahead and published it. So whenever you go and query on the infobot, you get to see live data which has been accessed as of the moment, or within a certain a few minutes span of time, and has been taken off from Snapdeal or Amazon, and that helps you to make a comparison of the rates, the comparison of the products available, and things to that effect. So that is what the infobot is all about. And so let's see. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly go through my models.py, because my models.py is not so much relevant to what is happening here. The major action that is happening, so to say, is happening in my views.py and in my crawlers.py. Okay, so models I'll just kind of skip through, and just to keep consistency with this tutorial. Okay, so that's the reason I kind of went into this entire explanation of models. So this is what it is. To understand the basics, you can again just go ahead and look at this Django girls Django models tutorial. Okay, so in case somebody has any specific questions, you're most welcome to, whenever in case you think you still want to, which is very rare, go ahead and put some comments on my video. I'll revert back to you. Okay, now creating an application. So this is where they've gone ahead and created their application. We've already done that. So let me take you to that folder where my application infobot can be seen. It is the usual stuff. You have views. I have two views over here. I'll explain why. But there are some different things that I'm doing over here. I have something called crawlers. I have something called crawlers test 2. Then there's some Excel class I've created, the forms. So forms and models and URLs and views, these are the standard that you'll find, and of course the admin. Okay, so this is the standard stuff that you'll see. So there is the admin, in which of course whatever you want to be made visible within your admin login of your Django application would be seen. Now, firstly, how do we go ahead and create an admin login? Because the admin part of the application already exists, but you don't necessarily have a super user or an admin user created yet. So what you need to do is you go ahead and create a super user, and the command for that is pretty simple. You go ahead and do a python manage.py create super user. Well, let me just to make sure that I'm absolutely correct there. Yeah, so this is what it is. So you say python manage.py create super user. So let me do that, even though I don't require to, but still, just to show as to what is happening. So I do create super user, and I'll get some kind of leave blank to use Dhankar, and okay, but I already have a super user on this. So what if I do create a super user again? Probably I will go end up messing my existing one. So I'll just I won't do that. Okay, so it says operation cancelled, but still let me go and show you as to what my admin looks like. So I will go localhost and now let me see if this works. No, it doesn't, because we are still on 8889 admin. Oh, sorry. So I run server, and let's see whether the server is running on what. Yeah, it's running on 8000, so not an issue. What I'll do is I'll just go and change this to 8000. Why am I not getting admin? I do have admin over here. Sorry. Okay. So I got admin without the. That's why I have localhost and then admin. Okay. So I already have my username and password saved. I just go straight away login. So what happens here is if I were to have created that, if I would have run this command, so it was already asking me username, leave it blank to have it as Dhankar, or I could have specified over here whatever it is that I want to specify, and then it would ask me for an email ID and also ask me for a password, and then revalidate that password. So that's pretty the regular stuff, so we need not bother much over here. So once this is done, it will say super user created successfully. You can go ahead and, like I did, you go to the admin page, and this is what you would see on a probably when the regular this thing on the regular or rather at your end initially, because depending on what application you have created here, you will get that name. So over here it says blog. Yours could be application, my app, or whatever it is that you've created, and then of course within that whatever you have created as model would be shown here. So this is mine. So what do I have? Product, featured, products, snaps, snappy something. So this is what it is. So this product, okay, so in case I want to see the users, I just go ahead over here and see the users. What is that? That's RD8, that's me, that's my email address. So it says staff status, so that means that's a admin. So you can have a super user. You can also have the super user create other users, wherein you can give staff status and all that. That comes at a later stage. I will not get into that right now. And then of course there are groups. So depending on we can create a group and then we can add people into that. So admin for log entry, then admin auth group, auth permissions and all of this. So this might take a little while to explain, so I'll just skip over this right now, probably later on. So, and not very relevant to the application. Okay, so here we go. I get to see a lot of names of a lot of products. So there's Sony something MDR, and can you believe it? I've gone ahead and typed all of this in, and I put all of this information in here, and I've got how many? I got 33 pages of this. Yeah, I got 3,298 objects in here. I've got Apple iPad, Flip, this thing, that, God knows what not. I have Go Crazy tablet cover for Apple iPad, a blue color thing. So I had to go in and type all of this and then put in all of this information, which is basically the Snapdeal URLs and everything. And I've been working like mad on this. I've been typing like crazy. Yeah, no, that is obviously not the truth. So I have not done any of that, and neither do you have to do anything of that sort. So just absolute bullshit. So what this is basically these are those objects that got created when we went ahead and web scraped Snapdeal. So when we go ahead and web scrape Snapdeal, these are the things that get saved into our database, and only this as of now. We could be saving other information also, but we've not done that. So this is the price, the display price. This is the name of the product. This is the Snapdeal URL, the product URL, and this is the basically the image URL. So if I were to go here and I were just to do this, it straight away take me to that page. So some kind of Sony ear canal. Okay, so Sony earphones for what is the cost? It shows 2,323. Whereas on the day when this was scraped, the cost was 2,240. So since then, it has gone up. Yeah, 240 to 323. Okay. So that is one thing that we've noticed straight away. So just lucky that we landed up on a product where the cost has changed. Otherwise, there is not much variation. So how to basically get to that variation bit? How to see that and okay, now I have the image also. Okay, so this is so we don't necessarily store the image. We haven't stored the image anywhere. For any of these Snapdeal products, we have just stored a URL and the page URL and the name and the price. We could choose to store images also, but then that would make our database extremely large. We don't want to do that, and because of this, I have that Cloudinary in my settings.py. So I showed you earlier my settings.py, and I had that Cloudinary thing in there. Yeah, right on top, if I remember. Yeah, so this Cloudinary, wherein I was trying to hide my name and other things. So this Cloudinary is basically you go ahead and get API access, and you go ahead and get a password and your your login and password and all. And once that is set up, these URLs will be converted into or will be transformed into with certain magic that Cloudinary does into their images. Yeah. And why does this work? Because Snapdeal uses Cloudinary. So if you look at this particular URL over here, it says n4 something sdlcdn.com. So what exactly is this cdn.com, in case you want to see? So that is basically Cloudinary. It will take you to so I just say Snapdeal product, whatever. But ultimately, it's Cloudinary, which is hosting. So Snapdeal has gone ahead and hosted its images with Cloudinary. So to keep it simple, okay. So we'll close this. We don't require any of this right now. We are jumping ahead of ourselves. So coming back to this, so this is basically where all of this information is stored. I also have Amazon products stored in here, but because of some weird reason I ended up calling the model snap underscore p, which is snap products, and then didn't change it. Yeah, but I think I have something different in production, so we'll just go to that and we'll see. Okay, now coming back to this tutorial. Okay, so it shows you that if you go into this, so of course if you were to create a post, a normal post, then you would see the author's name, the title, the text, when it was created, and the publication date, and all of these. So some of these fields would be mandatory when you create the product, and some will not. So again, now going to my models.py, let me see what mandatory fields I have for the snap underscore p model that I have. Yeah, so this is the only model that I've had. So I have price, which is blank, true, null, true, which means it can be blank. It is not required that it, then I have a name, then I have a URL, and I've kept these, kept text field with no options to have maximum possible length. So not really getting into calculations of as to how long the URL would be, how long the name would be of a certain product. So all those things can, again, to have maximum length, we've gone ahead and kept the text field with no options. So we've gone ahead and said, okay, text field with no options. So that otherwise, if there were some options, you would go ahead and enter them here within the arguments. So we have no arguments over here. So date times is the model's date time field. So auto now is equal to true, which means whatever is the date time when that particular object is being saved by this model, or rather through this model into our database, is the time that is the timestamp which will get saved in. So that is one. An active boolean field, so default true. So again, depending on what further we want to do with this particular project, we can take the boolean value for the field over here as default true. So later on we can, if we want, go and make certain objects as not active, or we deactivate those projects, or we pull them off from our website by making this field value as false. So that is one. So it can take only, by boolean field, of course, it means it can take only true or false, 0 or 1, and that's about it. Okay. What else do we have here? So objects is a product manager that we've created. So default product managers will also be okay over here. So there was no point of doing this, but because I had some other plans initially, so I've gone ahead and done that. So I think this is okay. So for now, this much of an introduction is okay. So we'll again come back to what else we can do with the models, and how are we saving other inputs. Okay. So once this is done, now what next does the tutorial say? And deploy. Until now, okay. So this is basically a deployment on Python anywhere. Now over here, I'll take a different route from this tutorial, and I'll deploy on Heroku. So deploying Python and this thing on Heroku. So we already have virtual environment. We've seen how all of that is happening. We've declared app dependency. So we have pip freeze requirements.txt. So I did that on pip freeze tests.txt. So you've already seen that. So all you need to do is make sure that it is requirements.txt, because that is the exact name that Heroku would recognize. for the text file wherein we will have all of this. Now specify the version of Python. Okay, the proc file. Okay, now this could be slightly tricky. The proc file is a text file in the root directory of your application that defines process types and explicitly declares what command should be executed to start your application. Your proc file will look something like this. So when it says web, so it's a web, it's basically a web dyno. Now a web dyno, single process type which is web, and the command needed to run it. The name web is important here. It declares that the process type will be attached to the HTTP routing stack of Heroku and receive web traffic when deployed. So which means this is what defines it to be a web application. Otherwise you might have something which is running on your local system which is not necessarily a web application. So you could end up creating a desktop application also with Python which runs only on your local machine. So here is something which helps Heroku understand it's a web application. And the WSGI file, which is again, let me show you in the folder first. Oh, sorry. So this is the WSGI file. It is in your, it is at the same levels as your settings.py within your, the folder which you created, which was your project name. So not your application name, but your project name, which was created as my site by the Django Girls project. Okay. So the WSGI.py is what this is referring to. And so let me show you my proc file. What does my proc file look like? And because I am on this system, I can open it with gedit and not harm it, and I'll still be able to view it and close it back. Okay, I don't remember how you would do this on Windows. I think a notepad, or maybe go through your Jupyter and create a WSGI or a proc file. I'm not sure, because this one while I had my Windows system, I was not deploying projects on Heroku, so I don't remember. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, so web Gunigon my proj.wsgi. So my proj is the name of the folder within which this proc file doesn't lie, but within which my WSGI file lies. So my WSGI file by default was created by Django inside the my proj folder. So that is the name which I need to put over here, my proj.wsgi, which means that within the my project the path chained with a dot notation lies the WSGI, and that is what Heroku needs to kind of read through for its instructions, whatever is there. Beyond this I won't be able to explain. So yeah, so that is what it is. And yes, it has got to do with web dynos. I read somewhere, but then that is slightly beyond the scope of this session. Okay, now build your app and run it locally. Okay, so we've already built our app and we've run it locally. We've done that. You could also do this Heroku local web. Now something very important here is the CLI. So do they come to the CLI now, or is it earlier? So the Heroku CLI needs to be deployed on your system, otherwise none of this will work. So let me, one second, let me again digress and go to the Heroku CLI. Okay. Okay, Heroku CLI. So what exactly is it? What happened? Okay, so Heroku CLI, what exactly is it and how to download and install? So depending on what OS you are on, For Mac, it would be brew install Heroku, and Windows download and run the Windows installer. Okay, so if I remember correctly, I would have done this, but I don't remember now. Yeah, I would have done this only. CLI sh-heroku.install ubuntu. Okay. So, but I have the CLI already installed, so I need not do this again. Now, what next? So all of this is done. Sorry, just bear with me. Or was it the other one? Yeah. Okay, so we went down till the proc file, so this is all okay. Requirements.txt. Okay, so extremely sorry, I ended up wasting some time here. So how to keep building artifacts out of Git. So now for a quick introduction to Git and as to how Git works on Heroku. So Git works on Heroku and on GitHub quite similarly. So there's not much of a difference. You need to have a gitignore file, which I do not, as you can see in this particular folder of mine, because what I do is I maintain Heroku don't upload or dashboards or compare API or whatever, and this is what you see over here. These are the only files that get uploaded into Heroku because I initiate my Git in this particular folder. So what that basically means is I do the git init, the first command which you have to do when you start uploading anything to Heroku from here. So what I'll do is, even though I do not want to change anything as of now, I don't remember having a requirement to change anything, but I'll still just go ahead and put some space over here, or make some changes and save it. And now I shall go back here, and the gitignore I have not created a gitignore, so that's okay. So in case you want to, you can. Otherwise, whatever you don't want to be uploaded, make sure you just don't keep all of those things within this particular folder. So now we can start from here, git add, but first what we need to do is Heroku login. Okay, and my Heroku app is already created and it's already deployed on Heroku. For you will go ahead and create an app after your CLI has kicked in. So once your CLI is deployed, using the CLI through this particular console or this command prompt, you will have to go ahead and create an app on Heroku. The other option is that you do not use the CLI and you use your Heroku. One second. You use your Heroku admin page, or sorry, your dashboard. That's the word I was looking for. Your Heroku dashboard to create a new app. So that can also be done. So what I'll do is I'll show you both. So what I'll create an app through the CLI, and I will also create an app through the dashboard so that you're aware as to how this is happening. So like I said, this is the way, or rather this is the page that you need to refer to create the app which you shall begin with the deployment on Heroku. So you already have an app and a project which is as of now offline, but to deploy on Heroku you need to have a certain app name, a certain identity, so to say. So like it says over here, the app is the fundamental unit of organization on Heroku. Each app can be associated with its own set of provisioned add-ons. So provisioned add-ons for us as of now would basically mean a Postgres database which is there on Heroku. There are also okay, let me show you an example over here. Where did my so this one which is the infobot. I also added on a Phantom JS what should I say, a deployment or maybe not, that's not the right word for it, but I'll come to that. So what I'd basically a build pack. So what we are doing right now is that we are just going ahead and using a vanilla Django Python build pack to go ahead and deploy on Heroku. But for some reasons which I don't necessarily require now, and which I will explain later, I did require a Phantom JS build pack because I was scraping certain sites where I wanted a headless browser, which is basically wanted to use Phantom JS, but then that did not work out and things happened. Anyway, so I'll come to that later. So now keeping things pretty simple, creating apps from the CLI. If I want to create an app from the CLI, first I need to log in into Heroku, and these are my credentials and other things. So that's my email ID, extremely long, so I need to okay. So what I've done is I've just gone ahead and typed Heroku login at the command prompt. So my local server was, development server was running. I stopped that. I did not come out of my virtual environment. I'm still within my virtual environment in that same console in the command prompt. I've not come out of that. And Heroku login, the moment I said, it says enter your Heroku credentials. It's asking me for the email ID. I go ahead and enter email ID. It asks me for the password. I give it the password for my Heroku login, and it says logged in as rohit.dhankar, and that's how I'm identified from my with my email ID. So that is okay. So I'm fine till now. Now to create a new app. Now I'll create an app and I'll destroy it because I don't necessarily need another app for now. So if I want to create a named app, what I'll do is I'll say Heroku create and then the name of the app. So if I go ahead and straight away do Heroku create example, that won't necessarily work because probably that name is taken by many apps on Heroku or maybe just their official app. So let me try this. It says Heroku create example. This should not work. Name is already taken. Okay, so I say example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that name is already taken. So I say example 1, 2, 3 hash $%. So let's see. Name must start with a letter, can only contain, okay, fine, whatever. So this doesn't necessarily work. So let's say example 1, 2, 3, and I say Dhankar. So that obviously would not be taken. Okay, lowercase, sorry, extremely sorry. Okay. So it says done. And then it gives me two basically HTTPS URIs. So what exactly is that? So one is where my Heroku app.com is where my app would go live. So that is where the world will get to see my app live. and the other one is the one that I'm concerned with right now, because I will add that to my Git. Okay, so what I need to do next is I need to add this to my Git. And how do I do that? Okay, so this is not the one. So it just says git init. So git init I can do. I can still initiate a git repository in the local folder where I am. But that will still not. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and specify. So what we need to do is we need to tie up this, somehow link this Git repository which got created on Heroku to our local machine, so to say. So whenever we make a push, or whenever we make some changes to our code and we go ahead and push that, it should get pushed on this right repository and not necessarily go to our GitHub account or something to that effect, because there are certain tutorials out there, and initially something that I referred to, which wanted us to create a GitHub repo and also create a Heroku login, and that created a lot of confusion. So what I have usually done is I've just gone ahead and done this. Now what I'll do is I'll try and see firstly what is the status of my remote as of now. So I've already logged in and I say git remote. So it says Heroku both for fetch and for push. Okay, so which means when I push my code, it will go to the right repository and it is showing me that name. So the way we got example 123dhankar.git over here, I have infobot in.git. So that is my intended repo for my infobot, so which is okay. And presume that were not the case, then to make sure that I will create my remote in this manner. So if I were to do this over here, git remote, and enter, so it says set git remote Heroku to the one that I've specified, and if I do git remote again, so it is the same, so which is okay, so because I've done that earlier. But this is what you'll have to do. So you'll have to run this command, which is Heroku git remote a, and then your, from here onwards it will be simply your app name. So this dash a specifies your app, so a space and then your app name, so whatever is your app name. So if we were to do it over here, the app name would be example 123dhankar, right? So I can replace this with infobot co.-in, and that's about it. Okay, so what else? Okay, now we can go ahead and check the Heroku version just to see as to what the version is, and we might require this info later, so you might want to store this somewhere. Heroku CLI 5.6.21. What did I have earlier? Yeah, so that's okay. Oh, perfectly fine. Not an issue. Okay, so what else? Now I go ahead and I do the git init. I've already done the git init. No, I haven't. So git init. It says reinitialized existing git repo in home dhankar info root info proj dot git. Okay, so because there was already I've already been pushing from this particular folder to git repos, so it's already there. So it says reinitialized. Otherwise, it would have just said initialized git in this particular folder or something to that effect. Okay, so next is git add and space period, then git commit. So this one I usually copy because I don't want to mess up the spacing. And so what do you want to put in between these punctuation marks, so to say? Depending on whether somebody on the other end, and especially if you were to be doing this on GitHub, so this will be the name of your commit. So if you want your collaborators to read as to what you're doing and make sense of it, so you could say this is my initial commit. Okay, you could also put a date if required, but that's not required, so it's okay. So you just go ahead and say initial commit and go ahead and push. So showing me 12 files changed, 168 insertions, 70 deletions. So index.html 100% rewritten, which I'm not sure is correct or not, but any which ways, so we'll let this go for now. Create mode, map test, and map test uber. Yeah, fine. So I'll just let this go. I'm okay with this. Otherwise I'll come back to an earlier version, and that will give me an opportunity to show you as to how you can come back. You can roll back to the earlier version if you want. Okay, so next is git push Heroku master. So that is the push command. Once that is done, the only choice is you roll back to an earlier version, because this will take effect on the production side, yeah, on the live web app. Okay, so what does it say? It says building source. It says Python app detected, installing requirements with pip, collecting gmplot. Okay, gmplot was probably not there earlier. Installing collected package, gmplot started running servers. Okay, successfully installed. But I'm not using gmplot right now, so I probably installed it on the local for something, but I won't use it in production right now. So okay, phantom.js app detected, it says. So this part is not necessarily required for your application, so might not be there, which is okay, absolutely okay. And fine, so it says release v54. So released version 54 of this particular app, and where is the app? It is here, deployed to Heroku. So it says verifying deployed done, perfectly fine. So this is okay. Perfect. So what I can do now is I can say Heroku open, and it will launch this application. So whichever application that I've deployed right now, it will launch that. But because on the landing page of my app there is absolutely nothing, so I'll have to go here. And yes, things are okay. So I thought I messed up that index HTML, but I'm not sure for what reason it says 100% changed or whatever. So yeah, maybe there's some change. Okay, so just to show you what happens, we've not reached that stage wherein you'll be able to understand the structure of the application, how it is working or what is happening, but just to show you what's happening. Heroku logs -t or space -t. Yeah, perfectly fine. Starting to up. So this is what I am interested in. This line over here, state changed from starting to up, which means the application is running fine. Okay. Host info bot. Okay, so this is okay. This is just from my views. This is okay, perfectly fine, not a challenge. And this, it says not found. So / not found. So / not found is basically when the moment this app opened, I said okay, this was not found. So this is basically /. This is what you would see if you were to just launch on the local development server also and not specify anything beyond this, right? So, and if you go back here, it'll probably again say / not found. No, it's not saying that, but that's okay. So wherever you have status 200, so if you look at this, status 200, which means things are okay. So rest of it, let me I can go through it right now quickly. So it basically says path static js bootstrap min.js. So that is within my static files folder. There is a folder called js, that is JavaScript, and within that there is bootstrap.minified JavaScript. So bootstrap is the framework that I'm using for it's the same as Twitter Bootstrap, and I have gone ahead and put a JavaScript file of theirs in there, which is basically what runs Bootstrap. And along with that, I also have custom CSS and custom JS and navbar static top. So navbar is basically the Django thing, and of course also the Bootstrap thing. So all of these things I'll come to as I go along. So all of this is 200, which is okay. So this status is 301. What exactly is this? Which means this is not working. Yeah, so first initially 301, but then status was 200, which is okay, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, so most of the status is 200. It's just showing, this is just a log, so it is showing us what is happening initially, and fine, okay. Yeah, and what I was looking for earlier, not found this, and initially it was not even looking for the favicon icon. So this favicon icon is a Django thing, so this I'll explain to you later, but not necessarily required for us right now. So okay, so my application is up and it is running, and I can now go here and do this, and I can start searching for something. So basic functionality of what is happening here, I go ahead and search for a product. It says search specific products like iPad Pro or whatever it is, and see the recent searches. We'll go to that later, or maybe we'll just go to recent searches first, and let's see what was searched for last on this. I don't even know, because this app is up there. If somebody's gone ahead and searched something, yeah, I have no clue. Okay, so the recent searches, what happened on June 13th, and right now, okay, one second. So I want to see what is the date and time now, so I can also see that over here. I need not. So the date and time now is June 14th, 21:26. So that's 9:26 on June 14th. And the last search that happened here on the infobot was on June 13th at 8:57, so around 9 o'clock last night. And this is what was searched for. So that is one thing that is there. Okay, perfectly fine. And now we want to look for yeah, let's just look for shoes. Let's just say shoes. Yeah, let's look for shoes. So what happens? You come here and see what happens. So this is basically the log. The moment something gets triggered on the web app, the log will show us as to what is happening. So I'm expecting a lot of input to flow on the page any moment, if things are okay, that is. Otherwise, yeah, that should have happened, but it didn't. So what we'll do is, I'll do a Control C over here. Heroku open is okay. I'll again go to Heroku logs and look at the difference now. Yeah, so this is what happened. So I should have got this straight away as a flowing this thing, but that's okay. Sometimes that doesn't happen on Heroku, which is fine, not issue. That could be a internet communication issue or whatever. Okay, so it starts off with int increment equal to 80. It should have started out 20, 40, 60, 80, whatever. I'll just come and explain that. So this is what is important. So it gives me the date, the time, and it says app, that is web 1, Web 1 has got to do with that, that WSGI file, and that, what we described in that proc file. If there were more than one web process is running, so this would be web 1, web 2, something to that effect. Now what does this show me? This shows me, and this is coming out on the console because I've gone ahead and I put that in the code. So I've gone ahead and put that in the code somewhere. So I'll get to that as to where I put that in the code and what it's supposed to be. So right now, let's just say Snapdeal Django. Okay, that's just my this thing. Crawlers underscore test.py. Within that, all prices. So this is what is coming out. So this is Unicode prices of products which are there, and that's the reason you see that so what is that? I don't know what you call this, right? So, and 495, then the comma, then U, then that punctuation mark, whatever. Okay. So the next is the search Pixar. Okay, I need to remove this name in my code Pixar because this is not necessarily Pixar. So RE search. So there's a regular expression search which is happening, and it brings up the first name basically. So it says tracking Chevette stylish tracking running joggers. Yeah, so that's the first name that came up. Then the names LS sliced. That is the names list sliced. Crasa, men's, turquoise, casual shoes and whatnot. Okay. And so how many names in the list? 46. How many unique names in the list? Final. And unique list truncated to 20. So over here it says unique list truncated to 20. So out of this list which you see over here of all the shoes and whatever it is that we are getting, we have truncated that to 20 to display that to the end user. And then this is coming from Amazon. So Snapdeal printing to the console stops here, and this is now Amazon printing to the console, or rather the data which is coming from Amazon being printed to the console through our Django code. And so if you look at the first line itself over here in the highlighted text, it says span class, a size base, a color price, something, span class currency, span 345.00. So this 345.00 is what we are interested in. So this is the displayed price of the first product that is being shown to us. So whatever that product is, let's say it's some kind of a shoe, and and this is 499 is a second one. So what we want to do is this is the list that is coming out. We want to further only get the integers, or sorry, the floats out of this, or the decimal place numbers out of this. So what do we want to pick up first is 345, like I showed you over here. 345 is what we want to pick up, and that 345 is what we get down here, right? So that 345 is what we get down here, and the length of the prices is 119, which means we've got prices for 119 products. Or in certain cases, we especially in case of Amazon, we also get something price hyphen something, so which I'm not sure what exactly that is. I think they probably offer some kind of a range. So we've got 119 of those records available to us. Now out of this, how many go into our database? How many actually get reflected on the screen to the end user? Because the end user does not see our Heroku log. Our Heroku logs obviously are not visible to the end user. So all that depends on us. So that can all be controlled. Now what initially over here in this production code is not controlled is this. So if you look at this, this is still not clean enough for human consumption. Till here it is okay. Then it goes 399.00. So this is where the funny stuff starts. It goes 399.00 span class currency something something something. Okay, and then span class size and all of this. Then it just basically goes for a toss. So I have fixed this. I have fixed this on the development side. In the production side, I'm yet to port that code. So I'll do that. So what I'll do is I'll do this as an interim. What I had done was I was checking the length of this particular list. So length my list. I was checking the length of each element in the list. So what is each element in this list is anything that goes from one comma to the other. So from here it starts off one comma to the other. So till this end. Yeah. So this is one element. This is the last element of this list. If you look at it, it is 39 in length. Not even, no, sorry, not this one is not 39 in length. This one is 39 in length. That one is probably even larger. So you have 345.00. So the decimal point is considered as a character. So if you count all of these, it is 6 characters, 6 characters, again 6 characters. So that is what is reflected over here, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and then you get 39. So this one in the end is 39. So even though I've gone ahead and counted that and I've seen the length is incorrect, and I've gone ahead and printed as to what is larger. So what is the undesired bit. So this is the undesired bit. Okay, list of item length above 10. So this is above 10. So initially what I thought, I'll just go and do some adjustment of this sort in the Python code, wherein I'll retain everything which is below length 10 and I'll remove or drop everything which is above length 10, but did not necessarily work. So then again I had to change the code and I had done that. And okay, so coming next to the pics list. So this is the pictures list. The product pics, that is, and as you will see over here, what is happening is the critical bit is this, the end part of it. So when it says ACUL 390 SR something or ACUL 650 SR something, this was again, this is the code which is as of now in production as I as I am recording this video, but I have again changed it. So in development it is slightly different. This was messing things up. So you get this entire list, but things get messed up. So ultimately what I did was I had to truncate it down to just 10 objects per list. So I've got 3 lists. I've got a list of product names, I've got a list of product prices, and I've got a list of product pictures, and I truncated down to 10 each, which was not necessarily the best solution, because I'm getting so much of data in, but I'm storing only this much, which is again, it wasn't working as good as Snapdeal was working. So Snapdeal is very easy to scrape. Having said that, Snapdeal is easier to scrape as far as Amazon is concerned. So that's all the results that we get to see on the Heroku log side. Now if the same results we were to, obviously, so the flow of the app goes this way, you go ahead and see those same results on the app, and that's about it as far as the this particular app is concerned. What I will now do is I will again get back to the deployment of Django onto Heroku and as to what else is required to be done. So if you want to create an app without a name, so you can go ahead and do this, and I'll also take away some of these URLs and place them down here, and then place them below my videos, so that whoever's looking at this need not go ahead and hunt for these Heroku URLs. Now, this is the one that I want to come to next. That is provisioning the Postgres add-on. Now, while we initially went ahead and deployed our Python Django app, the Postgres would be our default database in case we have it as our default database and we've gone ahead and changed those settings .py and everything that I did earlier. But if you've not done that, then what you also need to do is you need to deploy Postgres on your local machine. So how to deploy Postgres on your local machine, that is another thing that you need to be kind of cognizant of, so to say. So I'll come back to this. Firstly, let me go ahead and deploy Postgres on local machine. Right, okay, so is this the one? I don't remember which one I had referred to. It's been a while, and for me it was it did not go too smoothly because I ended up deploying something else altogether, but then again, which is okay. So depending on what you're running, Unix like platform and this and that and all that, and for Windows, of course, Windows, running and installing Postgres on native Windows, building with min GW, and how to compile Postgres on Win64. So this is for the Windows folks, and of course the other ones are for the people who are using Mac and Linux or any other. Okay, so there goes. And so once it is installed on your local machine, what I showed you earlier in the settings.py, you need to go, okay, so this is basically when we clicked on that, so the shoes and all that we searched for have cropped up over here, and on the left you see Snapdeal, on the right you see Amazon, and you see over here on the Amazon side the prices and all are not as desired, even though the timing and everything else is shown okay. But anyway, so this is in production right now. I'll change this code in front of you so that it becomes better. In development, I've already done that. I've already made those changes to my local server. So okay, coming back to the Postgres, and so this is what it is. We scroll down here and we see that we have already changed it from our default SQLite to Postgres, and basically the engine changes from SQLite to Django DB backends Postgres underscore Psycop G2. So Psycop G2 is the package which has been created, the Python package which is there to interface with Postgres, and the name of the database is infobot4. The username is infobot user. Password is hack. So password is optional. You don't necessarily have to have a password. If you do not mention localhost, it will connect to localhost. So that is also okay. So these two we can do without. And yes, I would recommend either go through some tutorials on Postgres, or probably come back later on. I'll probably or there's a lot of material out there, and I'll also do something on Postgres. There's a number of things that you might want to learn: how to purge a database, how to clone a database from Heroku, or how to deploy an add-on again after you've completely deleted a database on Heroku. So all those things, those definitely come in use. And what I have done is I have also put some of these commands over here. Postgres ones, yeah, I have those. I'll again put them under the video, so in case somebody wants a quick reference, we can do that. Okay, Now coming back to provisioning the add-on on this. So in case you haven't done it already, so Heroku add-ons grep I Postgres, which I will not do right now. And this is how we create a new database, and you can go ahead and then next do this Heroku add-on create Heroku Postgres hobby dev. So the hobby dev is basically the lowermost plan for the database, and there was, yeah. So these are the plans: the hobby, the standard, the premium, the private, the cache. So in case you need a dedicated one over there. So to provision a hobby basic plan database, so this is what it is: hobby basic, and depending on the plan, some database track their status. Okay, fine. Config S. So there is one particular command that I am looking for over here, which shows us the status of our database. Heroku PG. I think it's Heroku PG info or something. Let me just PG info, yeah. Heroku PG info. So let me show you as to what is the status of my database as of now, and I can come out of the logs and go Heroku PG info. So as long as I have logged in once into Heroku, I will remain logged in for this particular session. So I can straight away come out of the logs and go here. So it shows me database URL, plan is hobby dev, status is available, connections is 1 out of 20, which means one person is connected as of now, which is probably us. And the PG version is Postgres version is 9.6.1, created when 25th April 2017. Data size is 9.3 MB. So the 18 tables, so 2933 out of 10,000 in compliance. So that is the rows, and this fills up really fast. So in case we were to start testing this website, then it fills up real fast, and in that scenario you might want to back it up, and there are other things which are there. So, and I ended up creating a lot of confusion for myself once trying to fix this, and I did create one question on Stack Overflow. Okay. And I'll also leave a link to that out here, because maybe somebody runs across something of that sort. Yeah. So I ended up getting multiple versions of Postgres on my local machine, but then again I resolved it, and then I answered my own question down here, and this was way back in April only. Okay, so there I'll keep that URL also. So that is one. Okay. So we will not get into this further over here, and I've already placed that URL. Fine, so done. And okay. So next. So all this we've already done. One of dynos. This is not relevant to us right now. Okay, so this is basically Heroku run python manage.py syncdb and other things are there. So once we run migrations, okay, once we run migrations offline or on our local, we need to go ahead and run a migrate over here on Postgres. So let me show you that. Manage.py, and then you go migrate. So right now it might say that there are no migrations or nothing to be done or updated, but that is definitely required. So what you do is you make migrations on your local development server, and then you push to the master, and then you on Heroku you need to run with this particular command over here. So Heroku run python manage.py migrate. So this is something which is quite critical, and I will again, just to document this, I will keep this aside. Over here. Okay. So this whereas PSQL is for the local machine. So in case we want to check, and sudo apt-get install Postgres is again this one is for installing on the local machine. So this we've already covered. So this is all okay. And this is one error which I was troubled with for a while, and I thought I'll just document that. So what kept on happening was that white noise kept on giving an error saying that the static files have not got updated or something to that effect. The reason that was happening was that some of these static files which I was uploading were outdated. Outdated in the sense, presume there is some CSS file or some JavaScript file which I got from a third-party vendor or a third-party application, and I went ahead and put that in my static files folder. So when they are checked for consistency, or when they are checked for being the latest version, so to say, that check fails, because on my local that doesn't probably impact my development server, because there is a file which has been lying in my static files which my which my application code is not necessarily utilizing at that point in time. So it can keep on lying there, so even I might not notice, but on Heroku that doesn't work. So whatever is there in your static folder has to be something which is either up to date, or even if it is not up has to be something which is being utilized by your current application code. And if it is not utilized by your current application code, it has to be updated and current. If it is not, go ahead and delete it, otherwise it will create trouble for you. So that is one thing you need to take care of. Okay, so next, so this is okay. SyncDB is basically for creating tables and all, which is okay. So that will happen. You need not necessarily sync DB. You only need to sync DB when you go ahead and provision a new this thing. You go ahead and provision a new database. Okay, provisioning add-ons. This we've already seen. Running a worker. Push the change here, then launch a worker. Okay, fine. Yeah, so as far as the Heroku deployment is concerned, we are mostly done now. Okay, so this Django and static assets, I will not necessarily go through this right now. I will hold on to this for later, and I will now get into the Django structure of the project, and as to how the MVC works and things to that effect. So I'm parking the Heroku bit for now and getting back to the Django tutorial, so to say. Okay, and why I had gone from here to Heroku was that the Django girls tutorial is still focusing on deployment in Python anywhere, which is okay, which is absolutely okay. But we've gone ahead and done it on Heroku. Okay, so this is all fine. So the Git part and this we've already done. Okay, this is fine. Git add all. Go to GitHub. So we are not pushing our code to GitHub right now. We could do that. This is pretty simple. This is similar to what we've done on Heroku. I might want to come back to this later, but I'll just skip this for now. Okay. So basically, what happens is on Python Anywhere, you host the code on GitHub. From there, you pull in the code. So which is fine. So we will just skip this bit now. We don't necessarily require this right now. Okay, now Django URL. So what exactly is a URL and how does it work and things to that effect. So the URL, of course, like the URL or the URI terms used interchangeably sometimes, is basically a web address. You can see a URL every time you visit a website. It is visible in your browser's address bar. So this up here is the URL. Yeah. So every page on the internet needs its own URL. This is our this is the way our application knows what it should show to a user who opens that URL. In Django, we use something called URL config. URL configuration is a set of patterns that Django will try to match with the requested URL to find the correct view. Okay, so we come down and we go into our urls.py. So like I said earlier, we have two urls.py. We'll look at both of them. This one is the first one we are looking at is the urls.py at the project level. So presume we have an app project wherein we have multiple applications linked into it, which is many times the case. So all of those have to link into this master URL file. So this can be considered the master URL file. And just to show you, if I go ahead and do a save on this reflects on my here in my Jupyter my Jupyter notebook development not server, but just my development environment, so to say. Okay, and if I were to make changes over here, if I were to just put this two hashes over here and save this and go back to my Heroku this and do a push, okay, git add and do and what I'm doing right now, in case you are wondering how I'm going through this so fast, is I am pressing the up arrow key on my keyboard, so it brings back the last command which I had typed in. So that is how it happens. So I'm just going to call this to git commit to. So it shows me clearly one file changed, two insertions, one deletion. So deletion, I'm not sure what happened. So I just went ahead and did two insertions in front of you. Probably deletion is one movement of some space or something which is there. Okay, so this is how sensitive the Git is. So it tracks each and everything very, very carefully. And if I go ahead and do a git push now, so again all of that will get pushed to my, again this will be the next version. So last version, if I remember correctly, was 54 or something. So this will probably end up being 55. So that's okay. We can go ahead and keep on pushing small changes also, but ideally we should not. So ideally we should decide as to how we are going to. So that's a better strategy, to have some kind of planning in your mind, saying that once this kind of a change happens, then only am I going to push my source code or changed code to the to the production servers. Otherwise, you can keep on playing with it in the development and seeing as to what is changing. Yeah, so it says version 55, released version 55 over here. Okay, not a problem. So next, So the urls.py file. Now, what do we have here? Django conf, which Django configure URLs is there. So out of which we are, so again that's a package which is there, from which we are including or importing include and URL. So those are two. If we were to go into this particular package, we could see that these could be two classes over there, or some kind of function also. Maybe I can't be sure by just looking at it over here. We'll have to look at it over there, but which is later on. So not now. So now this is something which is important. Infobot is the name of my application. I've changed my views.py file. So this is my views.py file that I have changed with that dot command over there, and I'm importing absolutely everything from that in here. This is not the best way of doing things, so you should probably end up importing only things which are relevant to you. But then sometimes it is difficult to track all that, so just to be on the safer side, just import everything from there, which is okay. Might not be the best policy as far as the applications this thing is concerned, but okay. So then these are the URL patterns. So like it says over here on the Django Girls tutorial, that it will go through those URL patterns. Config is a set of patterns that Django will try to match with the requested URL to find the correct view. So these are those patterns, the URL patterns. And over here, the first one that it will look at is infobot search and /. So, and this R over here means it's a regular expression. Okay, and regular expressions are extremely important part of Python programming and also of Django. And now that we've come across, and there are and there are inbuilt module in Python. Okay, this module provides regular expression matching operations similar to those found in Perl. Both patterns and strings to be searched can be Unicode strings as well as 8-bit strings. I want to get to the part where it says that it is a see also third-party regex module which has an API compatible with the standard library RE module but offers additional functionality and a more thorough Unicode support. So what we are looking at over here is the standard library RE. Okay, and this, as far as I am concerned, has sufficed for most of the things that I have done till date. So I have not necessarily gone ahead and looked at the regex module, right? So on PyPy they are saying there is a module called regex, which I am not aware of. Which I am aware of, but I have not used it. So we can park that for later. So I'll just go ahead and make a note of this URL. Probably later we might want to. So what exactly are regular expressions? So regular expressions are more like the spoken language, so to say, and whenever you want to match something within strings, this regular expressions come in use. So there's a probably will have to do a different session altogether for this. This is a very, very exhaustive subject and is very, very important, is what I can say right now. And if we were to look at version 3.5 of RE, you just change the version here and there you go. Right, so this is the one that we should be looking at for 3.5. Okay. Now done with this, back to the code and urls.py. So this infobot search forward slash, basically what will happen is it says include infobot.urls. So now I need to look at, so wherever I say infobot.urls, infobot is basically my application and dot is that chaining of my application with that urls.py file. So it should, if you were to read this in this manner, so it will say backslash. So that is the location that I am referring to within my infobot application, the urls.py file. So I'll just change it back over here so that it, okay, so this is what it is. And then categories, include infobot.urls underscore categories. So I don't necessarily have this one over here, and this should have given me errors, but there is a dummy file which is there, so any which way, so I'm not getting into that right now. I can safely comment that out. Okay, then is the admin site URL. So this is built in, so this is what Django would have by default. This line is Django by default in the urls.py, which is at the project level, and the about, I'm not sure if the about is there by default or we've gone ahead and put that over there. I don't think so. The about is by default, which is okay. Fine. So this is the higher level urls.py. Then we get into the urls.py, which is within the application, which is this. So like I said, that one is clearly, so if it is infobot forward slash urls.py, that is the actual location of this file, and that is what this one signifies. So that is how you basically include. So if I had other applications over here which I wanted to include, so I could just go ahead and include in this particular manner. Okay, so that is done. Now we will come back to some of this later. So just as in we saw at the in the other file, which is at the project level, the urls.py, in the application level we can also import everything from the views, as is done over here, or this also sometimes will work. I don't necessarily remember. So now what will happen is, if we were to look at okay, so this is again nothing very special happening here. So I'll close this, and so the models.py. Now let me see what the tutorial says, so I'll go accordingly then. Okay, so how do the URLs work in Django is what I have explained now, and like I said, the admin site URLs is what will basically be already there by default. Okay, so this is line between triple quotes, so our doc strings, so documentation strings, you can write them at the top of a file, class or method to describe what it does. They won't be run by Python, so it is basically comments, so to say, and you see a lot of that in my code. I like to comment as much as possible. And now we come to regex. Yeah, so a basic primer on regular expressions. So what I'll do is I'll put this in the documentation. Okay, so dollar for the end of the text, backslash D for a digit, plus to indicate that previous item should be repeated at least once to capture part of the pattern, and all of this. So there'll be a lot of regex that we'll be doing. So yes, some of these basics will help, and I'll also build upon this. So okay, now this is the first blogs URLs. Okay, writing regular expressions in Python is always done with R in front of the string. Okay, so that basically tells Python that there's a regular expression that follows. Hint for Python that the string may contain special characters that are not meant for Python itself but for the regular expression instead. Okay, so that's okay. So that I've already kind of explained. This little R over here, which we can see over here, tells Python that this is a regular expression that follows. So okay, so this is they are recommending to go ahead and create a urls.py file within the blog, right? So this urls.py file that we see over here within an application does not get created on its own. We have to create it ourselves, and it's quite simple. So what we do in Jupyter is that you go and create a text file. You can name it whatever. So I will not name it now urls.py. I'll name it urls_1_.py. Yeah. So this becomes a .py file. There it is. So that is how simple it is. And I'll also go ahead and delete it because I don't want this going up in our production environment. So this is how you delete it. So you get to learn a little bit of Jupyter also along with the Django. Okay. Now back to this. As you can see, we're now assigning a view called post list in the I don't know what we call this $URL. This regular expression will match this whatever this is, the conical at beginning followed by dollar and end. So basically what happens is whatever is between these two, the beginning and the end, is what gets matched as a. So this is the beginning and this is the end. So again, let me go and open up my urls.py. Yeah. So you see at the beginning everywhere you have this cone kind of a. I'm sorry, I'm not aware what this is. And then you have the dollar, which signifies the end of the regex. And so now this / is part of the regex. So if now one second, let me show this to you how this works. On my local host, is my local host here? Am I in Heroku or am I in localhost? Okay, I've deployed on Heroku, but I can go localhost also. It doesn't matter. Python manage .py run server. Localhost will come up on 8000, which is okay. So I can, this I need not look at anymore. So I can go here and I go for what search. So you see, even if I were not to specify the /, the / is automatically there as part of this thing. And now if to show you a little trick, in case you want to see on your local host or even in production, when there is no this thing specified, if there is, if debug is still true in production for any Django app, what you can do is you can just do this. You just type whatever random thing, it will expose the URLs. So it says using the URL config defined in my proj.url. So it's also given you my project folder name. It is also giving the urls.py. Django tried these URL patterns in this order. Fine. So where it is supposed to land up, where there is absolutely nothing between that, upper triangle and the dollar, that URL is called index. Where there is products_index, that URL is called prod index main, right? So let's see if anything crops up with this products index, because it's already defined in my URL. And so what I need to do is I need to put this after the slash here. So it is after the after the forward slash, I go ahead and put products index forward slash, or even if I were not to put the products index forward slash and just go products index, let's see what happens. Fine, so it's taken me somewhere and it is showing me something, but I don't necessarily know what this is. I presume you're a developer who has access to the code and you want to know what exactly this is. So what is this that is being shown to me at this particular URL? So you link it to the view. How do you link it to the view? You go to the urls.py. It shows you over here the very second one. Let me highlight this. And within views, prod underscore index main. So views dot. So it is again that same chaining has happened over here. So within the views.py file, there is a view by the name of prod underscore index underscore main. So where is my views.py file? My views.py file is over here. And this is where the actual magic happens. So I need to find something called prod underscore index dot main. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. This is the one. Here. So prod underscore index underscore main. So what exactly is this showing me? So if I were to just read through this code right now, so I've gone ahead and defined a request view or a view which is of the request class, and latest snap underscore prods underscore list. So which means that the latest products from Snapdeal model, and also the line below, the latest products from the Amazon model. And so the product, then objects dot order by. So objects is basically my the like we did earlier, the objects that got saved into our table, and order them by what? By date times. And show me how many? Show me 10 is what is happening over here. Plus same is happening for Amazon. And then template loader is what is the template name? So this we got to see. Now when this got shown to me, what was the name of that template? And this is what it is. I just see products underscore index. So how do I know the name of the template? So how do I link it to the template? So which means there is the URL which has taken me to the view. Now the view is taking me to the template. So this is pretty much what happens in Django, and it's critical to understand. The URL takes me to the view and the view takes me to the template. So if I were to look at templates over here, I'll probably find them over here. Okay, so that is the journal structure that I have, that for each application I create a templates folder within that applications folder, and within which I keep my templates for that particular thing, and which also reflects in the views. So if you look at this over here in the views, it says infobot forward slash, one second, sorry. Yeah. Infobot forward slash snap underscore prod dot HTML. So infobot is again the application name, and forward slash is that within that particular application name, I should be finding this. So let's see, usually what it will mean is that within this templates folder, I'll have another folder called infobot, within which I'll find this particular template, which is snap underscore prod. Okay, so snap underscore prod. This is the one. Okay, and what do I have here? I have various things over here which might not make sense to you right now, but will very soon. So this is basically the Django template tags, the Django template tags, and this is a simple for loop, and this is include again just like a simple include, which says go ahead and include this particular template over here, or it could say something else altogether, so you could include many other different things. So again, which we'll come to all of this, but just to make sure that we know how to find the template. So from the URL we go ahead and link to the views, from the views we go ahead and link to the template. That is how it works. So I guess this is it for this particular video right now, and I'll get back to this very soon. Thanks for listening in.